Hi everybody, this is just a health and safety request video for Funky Fitness and Fun. I know when you're at Funky Fitness everybody's filled a parkour forming, whether you've done it or we've done it sat down with Carita and your family, but we all know what everybody's capable of doing. Now if you're not feeling very well and you're thinking, I don't know whether I want to do these exercises today, then please ask anybody who's around you, should you be doing them, or if not, then phone your doctor just to check that you're fine to be doing any of the fitness sessions. Now it's your responsibility to make sure that you've got plenty of room, that you're not going to trip over anything, that you haven't got a table in front of you, a chair, a rug what's slippy. Make sure you've got plenty of room, no obstructions, and that no distractions. Nothing's going to come in, a cat, your dog, anything that's going to come and make you trip up. Just make sure that you've got plenty of room, plenty of space, and no distractions. Make sure you've got water, that you're drinking water while you're exercising, and enjoy it. But Funky Fitness and Fun will not be liable or responsible for any injuries during any of the fitness sessions. Okay, you're all aware of your health and safety. Put it all in perspective and use it. Stay safe, enjoy your fitness sessions. Thank you, bye.
Hello everybody, this is Danielle, and instead of crafting today, I'm going to take you through some health and safety pointers. So, first off, when crafting, we use a lot of paper. Now, paper in itself is not that dangerous. It's fun to use, you can bend it, fold it, do whatever you want, but you must remember, and you've probably heard of them, paper cuts. They can be quite bad and they can hurt a lot, and you get them from the edge of paper. The reason I'm not worried is because I've got a couple of sheets here, which makes it a bit thicker and it doesn't tend to hurt you. It tends to be one sheet and it tends to catch you out. But paper itself is fun to use for lots and lots of different things. Remember to always start with a nice clear area. It means that you've got plenty of room and you're not going to harm yourself, making sure that we've got space to put things that's not going to hurt us or get in our way. I do have lots of room. It doesn't look like it because I just use this little part here, but I have plenty of room around me. Another thing that we use in crafting quite a lot is scissors. Now you will notice that these are my little scissors, and these are great because they're not sharp. They are sharp in between. I'm not going to put my fingers in there, that would be bad. We're not going to do that. But here on the outside, they're not sharp at all. These are school scissors. I prefer these. They are very sharp in between, but I'm not going to hurt myself on the end of them. Now these scissors are another thing entirely. As you can see, they're very pointy. If I put mine next to them, they're very pointy, and I would not put my fingers on the end of those scissors because they're very scary. They are bigger. Being bigger doesn't matter, but I would not go hurting myself. When you are walking around with scissors, always make sure to keep the sharp end inside your hand. That way you never hurt anybody else. So whenever I'm walking around with scissors, I walk around with them like this. While I'm sat at my craft desk, I tend to be here cutting, but if I was to walk around with my scissors, I would always carry those sharp bits in my hand. And then I do the thing where you put these up to your eyes and you pretend that they're little specks and you're watching in the theatre. That's always fun. But that is the way to walk around with scissors so that you don't hurt anybody or anything. So make sure that the plastic bits are at the top and the sharp parts are in your hand. Nice and safe. keeping yourself safe. Another thing that you may need, and I now and again need, is a pencil sharpener. Now hopefully you've got one of those nice pencil sharpeners that is inside a little thing and you just sharpen and it doesn't matter, so it's all good. But when you sharpen a pencil, you can make it quite sharp. Do be careful. Don't hurt anybody, don't hurt yourself. Never put the sharp point towards you, always keep the sharp point away from you. And again, when walking, sharp bits in hand, pointing down. That way you're not going to harm anybody or hurt anybody. This is my little bin. You often do not see my little bin. My little bin ends up with the tiny bits of paper and everything. It's a tiny little bin. I go and empty it afterwards, throw everything away when I have been doing my craft sessions. And every now and again, elastic bands. I have been known in the daffodils to use an elastic band to keep things together. Do not go pinging your elastic band, they can hurt quite bad. And when you are putting an elastic band round something, you want it fairly tight to hold something, but not overly tight. So there, if you look, there's quite a lot of room in there. I'm not going to keep going round and round and round, but it is actually tight enough to hold something together. So always remember things like that. But sharp pencil, holding your hand, walking around, any elastic bands, don't ping them and don't tie them around so tight that if you try to get them off, you'll hurt yourself because they'll come pinging at you when you take them off the item. Okay. Next is my pointy stick. Now I use a stick for rolling things. Now one end of this stick is nice and blunt, and that's the end that I tend to use. But this stick has got a sharp side. So if I didn't use this side, which I do, I use it for glue sometimes. You can probably see there's some paint on there. And every now and again when I'm trying to do detailed work, I'll use the pointy end for that. But if I wasn't going to use this for the detailed work that I do, I would just chop that off, give it a little bit of a nail file there, and clean it up and make sure that it was nice and safe to use. Like this end, I'm not going to hurt myself with this end, but because I do use this end for some detail work, I tend to use that. So, but for you guys, you only need this side. So anything with sharp pointy edges, cut them off, sand it down so that it doesn't hurt you. Yeah, all good. I do use a nail file. Sometimes if a project has a lot of sharp edges on paper, which can happen quite often, I will just give it a file down, and this helps to get a nice clean edge on your project. So nail files again are not too bad, but you can hurt yourself with a nail file. I have gone right up a nail before today, and that's not good. So make sure to always go away from yourself when doing things, and that should stop you from hurting yourself. So try and always move away when you're doing things. Every now and again, I haven't done any projects with pins, but every now and again I do use pins. Now, when I use pins, I don't tend to take them out of the box. That one's a little bent. You can tell they've been used when they've got a little dent in them. I have a little cushion, little polystyrene cushion, and when I'm using my pins, if I know how many I need, I put them in my cushion. And then all the nice sharp pointy bits, which are what we use to secure cloth and things like that, are all in the cushion and they're not going to hurt anybody. And then I safely put all the other pins away and just keep out the ones that I need. So whenever I use pins, that's what I do. I have a little foam. You can have any cushion. There are lots of cushions. They can be made out of polystyrene. They can be made out of fabric. Just a little pin cushion, just to keep your fingers and thumbs and other people around you nice and safe. So that is for pins. I also do the same if I use any kind of drawing pins. These are drawing pins that you put in the wall. Now and again, I don't know if you've ever seen where you can use drawing pins in polystyrene. I will put them in just the same way as I did with the other pins. So just to keep them safe. Also, it's to stop them from rolling around. If you just leave them on the side, they roll around, they go everywhere. Next thing you know, if you've got bare feet in the house, you end up standing on them. So you don't want that. So little polystyrene balls, just half of a polystyrene ball, as you can see, just sits there, lots of pins in it. Keep it there, nice and safe. This is a stapler. This is my very, very tiny stapler. You can tell it's not very big at all. It's only little. But some people have bigger staplers than this. This has got staples in it. There's only a few there, but it has staples in it. And staples are quite sharp. So I would get somebody to help me if I wasn't confident in using staples. Oh, they've just fallen over. Well done, me. So if I wasn't confident in using staples, I would probably get somebody to help me. And this is where the staple comes out of. So you put your paper in between the jaws and push down little staple. Yeah, so what you don't want to do when you're stapling is pop your finger in there, because that will hurt you. Obviously it's very, very sharp. I mean, on this it bends, but it won't bend on your finger. You would just hurt it. So do not go. Mine's too small, you see. My finger don't fit, but you might have a very big stapler and your finger will fit. So do not put the fingers in the stapler unless you got a little one. You can't do it. It's all good. Don't go putting your fingers where there are sharp things. Glue. Glorious glue. I use a lot of glue. I tend to use a stick. Stick glue is better because you know, you don't really need to open up any gooey kind of thing that will bring out all the paint or the glue and end up with it everywhere, and it gets a little messy. The stick glue is a lot better. It's just like school glue. You stick things with it. Obviously keep it out of the reach of any children. You don't want them thinking that it's something else instead of glue. They may think it's like some lip balms look like this, and you don't want that happening. Always wash your hands after using glue. We're all washing our hands more anyway, but obviously with glue it's got chemicals and things in it, so always make sure that you give your hands a nice wash, and it just keeps you nice and safe. But this is good glue to use. It's not going to hurt you very, very much. Very, very safe. It's a lot safer than some other glues. Pretty much. There's not much else that is dangerous, and crafting is slightly dangerous, but not very. This is a ruler. Rulers do not tend to hurt people, but you never know. This one's quite bendy, and people can use it to twang and things, so try not to do that. But this is a shatterproof one, so this doesn't actually break. It's rubbery. It's a rubbery ruler, so this is quite a good ruler to use. It doesn't break, it doesn't hurt anybody. It's bendy and fairly soft, and just don't go running around with them. I hope this gives you some wonderful safety tips when you're around your equipment. Be very, very careful. Don't go hurting yourself with sharp, pointy edges. Always wash your hands when you've been handling anything that is chemical based like glue, and make sure to use little pads and things to keep your pins and sharp things away. I hope this is helpful. I hope you all enjoyed yourself, and I shall see you soon when we are crafting again. Bye for now.
Since we've been doing a little bit of cooking and things, I've been asked to do a little bit of health and safety in the kitchen. So I know it can be a little bit boring, but we'll do a little quiz at the end. And here we go. So in the morning, when you come down and you decide you're going to cook, well, you have to make sure your counter's clean, don't you? So I thought I'd just clean it with my sleeve like that. What do you think? Do you think that's right? What? No. What would you use? Really? Do we have to do all that? Oh, all right then. I'll get my detergent spray, and I've got some blue towel, but sometimes we use cloths, don't we? So I shall just squirt that on like that. How long did you say I've got to leave it for? How many seconds? 30 seconds. Right. Gosh, that seems a long time, doesn't it? But I suppose it'd kill all the germs off, wasn't it? So, oh, I can't forget where we've got to. Maybe about 10, 11, 12, 13, 28, 48, 50. Since I'm not going to use it, I'm just going to wipe it off now. So then we'll clean all this down like that. And we'll make sure it's all nice and clean. Okay, that's brilliant. So the next thing, what we're going to do next? What? Wash our hands. What a fabulous idea. Come to the kitchen with me to the sink. Here we go, we're off to the sink. So I can just give my hands a quick wash like that, can't I? There. And I'll just wipe it on the tea towel, will I? Like that. No. What do you mean, no? Oh. So I can't just do that then? Oh, okay. So what have I got to do? What? I've got to use soap. Oh. And what else have I got to do? Oops, I'm nearly dropping that. So I've got to wash my hands with soap. Okay, here we go. I've got some soap here. See, brilliant, Carex. So I squirt it on my hands, is that right? Then what am I doing? Rubbing them. Oops, dropped it everywhere, like this. Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, it feels really squidgy. Can I rinse them now? As long as I've gone through all the fingers. I have, both sides, yeah. Really good wash into the nails, like that. Oh, and thumbnails. Right, I've done that. Can I rinse them now? I can, because I've done it for more than 20 seconds. Do you know, you're so good, you lot, aren't you? You know so much. Oh, and it's got to be what? Oh, warm water. Okay, well, I'm just waiting for it to run through. Ouch, that was a bit hot. I'll just turn it down a little bit because it's a little bit hot. Oh, that's better. So I'll give it a really good rinse. And what do I dry it on? Sorry? Oh, I have got a hand towel, yes. I have. I'll get it because it's been on here, but I can't get it off. This is my hand towel. My mother-in-law gave it me, and it goes onto the handle of your kitchen, so that's really good. So I shall use that. I was just going to use a tea towel, to be truthful with you. But you're very clever, aren't you? You know all these things, don't you? So that's amazing. What did you say? My hair? What's wrong with my hair? Oh, it should be up. Oh, I have got a bobble, but I didn't think it were long enough. Let me see. I don't think I'll get the sides in. Oh, but I could get the little back in. Okay, I'll put my hair up. Thank you for reminding me. I really didn't think my hair was long enough. I've done it. So, when we've done this, what's our next thing that we should do? Wash my hands again? Why? Oh, because I've touched my hair. Got you. Off I go again. Here we go. Rubbing, scrubbing, da-da-da-da-da-dum. I'll give them a rinse. I'm having a bit of a dance at the same time. Is that okay? Okay. Back to my hand towel. I've remembered no tea towel, just a hand towel. Okay. Now what have we to do? A weck. We have, haven't we? We've got a potty. Oh, well, I'll have to see if I can find one first. Oops, I nearly dropped it. So now I've got to put on my pin in. Okay. So I'm going to put, oh, I've just dropped one penny. So I've got a nice, and it's clean, a nice clean penny. You what? Take your cardigan off because you don't want your sleeves and anything. Oh my goodness, you know so much, don't you? You are? Wash your hands again. Oh my goodness. Why? Because I keep touching everything. You're right. So maybe I should have put my hair up. What? Oh, put my pinny on first. Put my hair up. Wash my hands. Done the counter. Wash my hands. Because then it would have only been twice. You're correct. Right, well, I'm just going to put you on hold as I just nip back to the sink and wash my hands again. Hi guys, well I went and I washed my hands again and they're all really, really clean. And they smell delightful. And I promise I will not touch my face or my mouth or anything else now unless I'm cooking. So you've done a really good job there. So if we've done this bit of it, haven't we? So now we've got to talk about when we're chopping things up. So there's lots of different things, and there's lots of different boards. And at home, you won't have lots of different boards. I have them because I do it for a business. But at home, you'd have a board, so you'd always make sure that was very, very clean, wouldn't you? And you clean it with sanitizer and everything. Like your squirty antibac and things like that. Make sure it's nice and clean. Or really, really hot soapy water is a really good one. And then you let it dry on its own. So that's an awesome thing, because I know you all know that. Now, if I was going to cut something up, this is where you have to be really, really careful, don't you? Would you use a spoon to chop something up? No, could hear you shouting. What would you use? You're correct, a knife. Now we have to be really careful, don't we, with knives? Because they're so sharp, aren't they? I was just going to get one then. I think I'll just walk over here and we'll grab a knife, eh? So, I have lots of different knives, you see. I've got very, very sharp knives, like this. And then we have little serrated knives like this. So we have to be really careful that we don't cut ourselves. Careful that we don't cut ourselves, don't we? And then we have little knives like this. So if we were cutting some meat, would I use that knife? No. Are you sure? Could do, you know. When you're eating it, you can, can't you? But for cooking it, you couldn't. Okay. So would we use maybe this knife? Now, if you're a bit worried about knives, you could get your carer to do it or anything like that. And that would be great, wouldn't it? And make sure that you're all safe. I always keep my knives all safely tucked away in the drawer until I need them, because they are very, very dangerous, aren't they? So, and when you're finished, when you're using the oven as well, that's another thing we've got to talk about. So when you're using the oven, you certainly wouldn't open the oven door when it's very, very hot. How would you get your stuff out? Because you wouldn't use your bare hands, would you? No? So would you use maybe a tea towel? Or oven gloves? or I think I've got a little, it's made out of silicone. It's a little silicone glove that I can put on that I can help to pull out things out of the oven. So that's another good thing, isn't it, that we can use. I'm just trying to think what else we need to go through. Back in 1 second. Right, we're also going to talk about if you spill something on the floor, and I'm quite sure you all know what to do. You would immediately wipe it up, wouldn't you? Or if it was food, you would sweep it up and then you would wipe the floor, and then you would dry that part of the floor, wouldn't you, with a kitchen towel or something like that, just to make sure that it's really safe. Because I certainly wouldn't like to pick it up with my hands. That wouldn't be good, would it? Oh, we could, I suppose. We could try it. I don't think it'd be very nice though. What else do we need to cover? We've covered the cooker, we've covered the cleaning hands, we've covered wearing clothes, haven't we? And we've covered our hair. What else do we think we need to cover? We've covered the floor, we've covered the work surface, and we've covered going in and out of the oven. But the one thing we haven't covered is cooking on top of the stove. When you're cooking on top of the stove, if you've got a frying pan, you've got to be really, really careful. And if you find that difficult at all, just grab somebody who's okay with it, that's done it before and can help you. They don't necessarily need to do it all for you, but they can help you to do it, can't they? Because we have to be really, really careful because it gets so hot on top of the stove. And if you're boiling pasta or something, the water is really, really hot too. So we need to be really careful with all that. So always get somebody to help you if you're not very steady on your feet, or you've got a bit of wobbly hands. I get wobbly hands, I get a funny elbow now and again. Luckily it doesn't happen very often. So I'm quite lucky that I can do most of the things myself now. If I can't though, I'll call on our Elizabeth, or I'll ask Susan, or anybody who's about. And as you know, when we're at Funky, you know, you all help there, don't you? Come and do some cooking. Joe Lathwaite's learning to do bits of cooking. Kerry Kay's been doing cooking. I've done cooking with Kevin. I've done cooking with lots of you, haven't I, over the years. And now Sarah does cooking with all of you now, doesn't she? But we've done lots of things and made so many different dishes, and you've all been amazing. So I know really this health and safety thing's fine, but I thought we'd finish with a little quiz. So, because I know I'm boring you, because I can hear you all going, oh goodness me. So we're going to do this little quiz, and this is the one that I do with you now when I do cooking with you occasionally on a Wednesday, or sometimes I did bits of cooking with you on a Friday, and we did a little bit of things. So the first thing is, what would be the first thing you would do were you about to cook in the kitchen? So it's a multiple choice answer. So A, would you shut the window? B, would you wash your hands? Or C, would you brush the floor? What? Oh, would you now? You tell me to wash your hands? No, you wash your hands, that's right. Oh, cool. So, you know when you've got bottles of milk or cartons of milk or anything like that, would you leave them out overnight? Would you put them in a cupboard? Or would you put them in the fridge? Of course, you're right. That's brilliant. You put it in the fridge. If you are cutting up food, what do you need to use to cut that food up? What? A wheelbarrow? Oh, sorry. I'm going into gardening. What did you say? Oh, a knife. Well done. Well done. So what sort of clothing would you put on when you're in the kitchen? Would you chuck your cardigan with your long sleeves like that so you could do? Or would you have a nice jumper on that was really tight fitted so it doesn't go up, or short sleeve top? None of them. What would you put on to protect yourself? Oh, a pinny like mine. Oh, of course you would. I never even think about that. Well done, yous. So, obviously we've been through it, but if your hair was long, what would you do with it? Would you take a bit out and put it in your dinner? No. Are you telling me I'm silly? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I am a bit silly. But I've been silly for years, so it won't make any difference, does it? Of course you would. You tie your hair up. You know, if you went, oh, you're coughing and you're sneezing and you know, would you just carry on with your food? You're telling me off? Oh, I've got to wash my hands. Brilliant. Now, how would you take food out of the oven? Would you use your bare hands? Would you use a piece of paper? No. Oh, you'd use oven gloves, of course you would. Or a nice tea towel? No, oven gloves. Okay, you use the oven gloves. I use tea towel because I haven't got oven gloves. Or I use my little plastic thing that I have, but it's not always big enough. Okay, so your last one-ish. And maybe not. Let me think. What other question could I ask you? Let me think. If you took a beautiful cake out of the oven and you put it on the side and then you took it out and you put it on the rack to cool, would you eat it straight away? What would happen if you tried to eat it straight away? It'd burn you, would it? Yeah, I think it might. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Thank you for listening to me. If you don't want to listen to me, just whiz past it. Love yous. Bye. Hey guys. We forgot to do the fridge last week when I was doing it, so I'm just going to go through it with you now. So in the very bottom, we will have all the uncooked meats and everything, and they're well out of the way of everything else. And then I'm going with my vegetables. I have some little sauces there. Then I have my cooked meats, my ham and things like that normally, and sometimes I maybe have cooked some mince or something like that and I'd have it on that shelf. And then I've got my butters, my cream cheeses, normal cheeses, things like that. At the very back I've got some hummus there. And then on this shelf I've got all my pickles, but then I've got my yogurts and I have my oh my goodness, my creams. And I try to keep it that way because then it stops any cross-contamination whatsoever. I just thought I'd let you know about that. Okay. Okay. Oh, I have my eggs on there also. And then I've got some lard as I go down, and then I've got some milks. There's odd little bits of things, but nothing that can contaminate each other. And I've got milk and water at the very bottom there because I like my water as well. Alright guys, bye.